I want to do what Fled does and destroy all the meta decks, but also acknowledging that Mage and Paladin are just that good that you kind of have to bring them if you want to win the tournament. And so I actually really like how DreadEye's approached this. It's like, I'm going to beat the meta whilst being some of the meta myself. And I think that's what's got him here. And he's got him here very, very cleanly as well. He's not had any... In a week of 3-2s where every match seems to go down to 3-2 because every match comes down to the fourth deck versus the fourth deck. He's had 3-3-1 victories, which is actually quite astounding by this week's standards.
Yes, it is. Luna's had a little bit closer of series, but I would like to know how many of the losses were with the Token Druid, because I feel like that's obviously the weakest deck.
Luna is 3 wins and 3 losses with her Token Druid, and she's only lost one other game, and that was with the Rogue. All the other... she's 3-0 with a Mage, and the Paladin's always been banned.
There you go. So the Token Druid's the very obvious weak link, but let's turn our attention to the match at hand. DreadEye with a pretty terrible opening hand. The one thing that he does have going for him is that he will be able to answer this 2-1 with Penflinger plus a secret, but no like sticky one drop, no Sword of the Fallen, no Aldor Attendant, no First Day of School, no Northwatch Commander. Those are like the 4 cards that you really want to see in the opening hand. Instead, he's got a Talon Forging, which would draw the Lady Liadrin, which can't even get anything from the Lady Liadrin yet because he hasn't played any buffs on his minions. So
I really like what he did there on this turn 1, by the way. It's only a very small point, but he played the Avenge and not the Oh My Yogg, knowing that Luna kind of has to test for Oh My Yogg anyway. And so maximum disruption is to let her test for that with coin and see what happens, and then play it afterwards when she's got less spells to test for it again.
Yeah. Well, this is going to get pretty awkward for DreadEye pretty quickly. 5 health is a lot to get through without playing minions as a Paladin without the Librum of Justice.
And look at the hand.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. 4 minions.
Yeah. You can't kill it with Penflingers because every time you Penflinger, you summon a 2/2 on the other side of the board.
I mean, you can, but you take 10 the next turn.
Yeah. And, oh, jeez, the Oh My Yogg drawn. Oh, man, this is like the worst. Oh, Avenge! Those are the 2 secrets that he has up. That's terrible. Oh.
Yeah, he can't even fling pens if he wanted to because he's not allowed to play the secrets. He can't even just like trash them to get the pen flinger back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luna just doing basics really right now. Just being very sensible. Being careful with the secrets.
Yep. Let's see what it is. They killed the Penflinger. Yeah. Because the Penflinger wasn't green. It would have been green if it went back to the hand too.
Got you.
So I guess attack Thorglaive again and then finish the turn with a Wand Thief. That seems like the most efficient way.
Like most competitive players, I'm not usually a massive fan of slow animations, but the Yogg one somehow just, I love it. It's great. Evocation is that. The fact you have a moment to think, what's it going to be? It just amuses me intensely.
All right. DreadEye can kill the post.
Great.
For the Alliance and my family.
Already. It's only been there for half of the evening. And if that was a Kazakus, that wouldn't have been able to kill the post. That's a good point. Well made, TJ, before you make it.
Yes. Thank you. I actually wasn't going to make that.
It's quiet.
All right, so
Too quiet.
Luna now no second Oh My Yogg, which Oh, Luna knows this is Avenge exactly because the secret was played for 0 mana at the end of the turn, and Avenge is the only holy spell, holy secret. So
Yep.
she knows exactly which secret this is because of that. So felt free to play the Swindle. Now can Shadow Step the Wand Thief to keep the. Oh no, okay. Just gonna stop there. I was gonna say to keep the train going with the field contact, but it's actually not a bad turn for DreadEye. Gets to go Northwatch Commander, Penflinger, and then Oh My Yogg, which means he at least has the board.
Yeah, I mean, you threw in the word "at least" there before I sort of pulled you up on it. Like, this is a good turn, but it needed to be because he's just spent 6 turns getting rid of 1 card on the other side, so he was a long way behind at the start of this turn. Excuse me. Right, Luna can do whatever she likes now. That evocation is going to be interesting. Will she try and get it to sort of go off early, or will it just be a backup? Because these games go a long time, Rogue versus Paladin. It's just extra stuff later if needed, isn't it?
Yes. You don't want the game to go too long as the Rogue because you do start to just run out of damage. You have a lot of small things. Post-Rogue's a little bit different because you at least have Kargal. You have Kargal, you have Kazakus, and you have Jandis, and that's it. Like those are the only big threats you have.
Yeah.
And if you can start to get into the territory where the Paladin's playing Libra of Hopes and has opportunities to play Liadrin with Libra of Hopes, you're just going to run out of stuff to be able to get through those things. So you want to either disrupt so heavily early game that the Paladin's so far behind that they'll never get to Libra of Hope safely, or pressure early, right? And Luna is on the disrupt so heavily plan. Because now, even though DreadEye is stabilizing every turn after turn, he's not progressing his game plan. He has no Libram reduction except for this one Aldor attendant. Wasn't able to pull the secrets out of his deck with the sword because he didn't draw it. So that means his average draw early on was pretty poor and won't be able to go for those combos. Talon will pull out the Lady Liadrin, but it's not really that impactful.
Yeah, this Talon.
Hasn't been anything played.
I don't know about this card. I played it quite a lot, this deck, in testing, and then I decided that Talon wasn't very good, but, people know better. But now I've watched a whole 3 days of Grandmasters playing it. I understand the point. It gets to the Adrian, and you've got the Librams, and you do it all again, and it's like a fetch card. I think it's just a bit mediocre. Because you get through your deck anyway in the tough matchups, and in the easy matchups, you don't really want a 3/3 Divine Shield for 1,000,000 mana.
Yeah, I can see what you mean, but I think it's too important in the slower matchups because you really need Lady Liadrin.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be good. But if you've already drawn the Liadrin, it's so terrible.
Oh, double 5, oh, triple 5/5.
So many 5/5s.
Yep. And
Not a
who's
card
got
that's
more where
been
that came from? She's got 2 cards that pretty much just reload in hand, Evocation and Field Contact. So no matter what happens here, she's going to be able to find a play to follow this up.
Cargill's made not very much impact this weekend, I don't think, mainly because of Flame Strike existing. Obviously against Paladin it's a different story. You need the extra numbers in your deck. But against Mage, this card just gets Flame Strike, unless they've already killed you with the Grand Slam. But when you can ban the Mage, it becomes a lot better.
Yes, it does.
I think that's
the what?
That's the other realization I think players are coming to, is that at the start of the week, I think the opinion was that Rogue Paladin was quite a close match, and as time's gone on, I think people are realizing that Rogue beats Paladin a lot.
It's decent against it, put it that way.
Yeah, considering that we know that Mage...
Coerce is so good. I've seen poison rogues that run Coerce just to get through Libram of Hopes, right? Like, that's...
Yeah.
I mean, essentially that's what it is, because that's like the only big top minion that's in the metagame that stops aggressive decks. Luna able to pick up a Coerce from the Ruined Orb, from the Evocation, in order to push through, so...
I love how
also it's a combo card.
Yeah. So you can draw some more
it
cards.
Can draw more cards with field contact. Yep.
I love how Limmer of Hope is in both of the top 2 decks in the meta. So Coerce is doing double duty there of beating Mages and Paladins at the same time.
Yep.
Quiet.
And Mankrik is a battle cry, so going to be able to draw even more. Could even shadow step Mankrik.
Yeah, I've seen that done more than once, obviously. Get a couple of
unless
10s in your deck.
Look what I want.
I think I would have rather shadow step Mankrik.
This looks...
Being alive, but
Yeah.
it's pretty good still. It doesn't matter.
That's the answer, isn't it? You find that most discussions, when you're discussing whether a top player should do A or B in a marginal situation, they just do the one that wins. They don't get to B if A wins.
Yeah, well, DreadEye was second Libra of Hope and is able to take out the field contact. The problem here becomes now DreadEye needs to Lady Liadrin and then live for a turn.
Yeah.
To be able to play another Libra of Hope. So Luna's
one of those things is easy.
Live for a turn?
No, playing Lady Liadrin. That's the easy part. The living for a turn is tougher.
Wasn't me.
Oh, so much damage coming in.
Yep, so you trade in the 2-1, then Guardian Og Merchant, Dagger Face.
That's an upgrade.
And that sets up a 2-turn lethal.
You can see on
With
show
13 damage.
why you were saying though that you've got to get it done as the rogue a little bit quicker than slow. Luna down to a Penflinger and a top deck, and obviously a DreadEye who's going to probably die this turn. If that was a turn slower, DreadEye had stuff up.
Flame Strike!
Lovey?
Oh, Flurry at 10 mana.
That does the
DreadEye
thing you were saying.
DreadEye.
Play Liadrin and survive. That's what you were recommending.
Yep.
It might need some luck.
Is there worth do you Penfling or anything here?
Yes, so it doesn't get frozen. Oh, you make a 2/2 instead, so no.
Yeah, you don't want to. Okay. Oh, those are 2 good targets. Yep, you Libra of Wisdom. I think you're supposed to Penflinger first there to get another extra spell back in hand. I guess it doesn't matter at the end.
But then you make them a 2/2, which
Because,
is
is enough. Okay, so that's only 8 damage on board.
and board locked as well, because that 2/2 wants to go.
That's the remaining deck.
Damage.
Except for the Wicked Stab. There's no Wicked Stab. Sorry, the ranked spells don't show up correctly. So Wand Thief was the only thing, but then Wand Thief...
So he's done the thing you said. He survived, and it looks good. Has got to finish it off.
Yeah, but that's easy, right? The Libra of Hope, Luna just doesn't have enough left in the tank to get past it at all.
Yeah, okay. You're right. There's Secret Passages 2 of in Luna's deck.
Yeah, but no damage.
Good point.
There's 1 Wicked Stab. And Wand Thief. So, okay, sure.
Jandis
yes.
making double rush minions.
Also could happen. So there is a
Struggling.
small chance.
Trying to defend my position. It's difficult. But I'm up for the challenge.
It's crazy to me this Libram still costs 1. We're this far into the game and the Libram still costs 1. It actually costs 0, but it got a cost increase from being drawn with the Farwatch post, but... Okay, Libra of Hope face, that always happens. To play around the last Wicked Stab.
Okay. Now he's got to work out if Luna can get through these. I think. Does he know about the pen flinger? I think he knows about the pen flinger.
Let me.
Yes.
Must move quickly.
I mean, not that it's that complicated for him because he basically can account for every card in the deck to some degree. Because if Luna has Secret Passage, she will play every card in the deck.
DreadEye wants to take out anything that can attack.
I like this.
With a 5/5, it is Oasis ally. I'm pretty sure he knew that 100%. Could have played around it by playing Penflinger first and then Hand of Adal instead of Libram of Wisdom.
Jandis, it's happening to you.
Hey, loser!
What makes something real? Choose soon.
Give me that. Not what I want.
Hey, loser! Was it me? Hey, loser!
I must move quickly.
Was it me? Hey, loser! Was it me?
I'm looking for a few good mercenaries.
choose silly.
Move quickly.
I'm going to throw the book.
Choose silly.
My hand is too full. I wonder.
I'm going to throw the book.
I must move quickly.
Reporting for duty.
I'm almost out of cards. So many options. Choose soon.
Efficient is sufficient.
everybody, welcome back to America's Grandmasters. Apologies for the delay and for the technical issues. Told that you couldn't hear Lorinda and I for the later portion of that match, but it seems like we're back. Everything's fixed, back on track, and ready to jump back into the match between Luna and DreadEye. I'm TJ, joined by Lorinda, and it is 1-0 in favor of DreadEye. After a terrible opening hand, DreadEye still managed to defeat the post rogue with that Libra Paladin. It's the best deck in the game for a reason, Neil.
Yep, it looked like it was going to go wrong. Luna getting a pretty good Jandis to make the game exciting again, but DreadEye held his nerve, kept it together, and got the job done. And that's 3 cliches in 1 sentence. I'm very proud of myself for that one.
On a roll.
But Luna is now going to go on this Token Druid, the deck she has had the most trouble with. 3 wins, 3 losses this week with this deck. Very much her 4th deck.
Yeah, that is true. Now, Token Druid can get off to some quite fast starts. It does have 2 decks left that I think it can do incredibly well against, with both the Rogue and the Demon Hunter not having these board sweeps. So if Luna can stick 1 solid board in the early game, or even in that mid game with Glowfly Swarm, I think now that the Paladin has already taken a win, Luna's well poised to get a win with Token Druid.
And I mean, the 13th ranked player in the Americas region has been playing quite a lot of this deck, so I'm going to take their word for it over yours, I think, TJ. So, oh wait, TJ is the 13th ranked player in the Americas region, but DreadEye has got the Weapon Rogue out there, so should be okay. Obviously can just ignore what's going on the board and just turn it into a straight race here with this Weapon Rogue, the Poison Rogue, as some people and places call it. But also, as TJ was saying, there is no removal, so if Luna does stick a board, the race will be on in earnest.
Yes. And I am in favor of Token Druid winning that race usually, because once you stop interacting with minions, you've stopped interacting with minions. You're not going to like second guess yourself and be like, all right, I'm going to start interacting with minions again. So that opens up the floodgates for the Token Druid to just start slapping the buffs on. If you stick a board early on, you can kill by like turn 4 or 5. Your opponent's not killing any of your stuff. So, but we did see Eddie, who was playing the Weapon Rogue, take a win against Luna's Token Druid. But a lot of it was just because of some slick maneuvering around the Thorngrowth Sentries, and Luna drawing double Innervate, double Lightning Bloom off the start. So let's get into it. That's a Gibberling. That's an Innervate. That's a coin. That's a Power of the Wild. Pack it up.
I just hate it when my Cult Neophyte is too slow to stop my opponent doing everything on turn 1.
Yeah.
This looks like a good hand, TJ, for DreadEye, and it does nothing. Yeah.
So Luna has 3 mana available on 1, but I imagine that she's going to wait until she picks up 1 more spell. Actually, wait. This is Gibberling.
Yeah. This is a lot.
It's actually not that many Gibberlings. If you do all of those plays right now, so I think this is a pass.
Yeah, I'm probably being biased because I can see the Neophyte, so knowing that if she passes now, she passes again next turn. You're right, but it looks so good.
All right, this is not a pass.
Oh, yeah.
This is only 3 Gibberlings, and so it's going to be 3 2/2s and a 1/1.
Now, I think this might be because DreadEye kept 2 cards. What 2 cards would DreadEye keep and do nothing on turn 1?
Yeah, no, I agree with this. Forget what I said about this as a hold. That's a hold against other decks that have, like, comeback mechanics, right? This deck does not have any comeback mechanics. So, like, no lifesteal, no taunts, nothing to block this damage, right? So Luna's effectively going to be pushing 6 damage a turn as long as DreadEye lives. I don't know if he can afford to just start throwing Swine Tusk Shank attacks into these and still be having enough damage and enough weapon swings to win the game. It's possible, right? But
yeah.
Oh,
It was interesting there.
Adorable Infestation is huge. That was the best pickup off the top because now Power of the Wild actually gets more value. The pushing 7 damage. DreadEye still has to keep attacking into minions. Arbor up in hand. This game is not looking good for DreadEye. I don't even know what he's looking for. Paralytic Poison. So he can start trading into minions without having to worry about...
I mean, he doesn't have to worry about this game anymore. He can just worry about game 3. Luna made a decision, actually, all the way back on turn 2, where she traded in the active Gibberling, the 1-1, and her face to protect a 2-2. That was quite an interesting spot.
Wait a second. Yes, it is an interesting spot, but basically she wanted to just protect it against a dagger up or a pen flinger.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, that was actually... a decent little clear from DreadEye. But again, it's about... DreadEye has not dealt a single point of damage, so is there now just a clock, like a hero power clock? Especially with...
Yeah, I mean, Luna will be able to make a minion or something here and there. There's Arbor up exists, and the Fel Rage exists, so... there is definitely still a very fast clock on DreadEye here, which, as you were saying, when she starts, you only get to stop attacking the minions once. And currently is in no position to stop attacking the minions. Stopped attacking the minions. Got the prize plunderer.
Job's done. Give me that.
Still a long way to go, though.
Ooh. One of those situations where you need great visualization, which makes it very easy for casters and very tough for players.
I go with 2 Glowflies? There's no way. Yeah, Arbor up. This sets up lethal. Is it 4 damage? Luna has 4 damage in hand. The Tusk drawn. Has to go Penflinger, Cutting Class. There are no more prize plunders left. So DreadEye can hope for, like, prep something. Alright, that'll do it. That's game.
They're both dead, right? No, because he needs another mana.
Nah, he would need another mana.
I was using chat mana.
Yeah.
And it's 1-1, which is what I tried to say it was before we came back on air, and you decided that it can't be 1-1 because they've only played 1 game. But now they have played 2 games, and it is most definitely 1-1.
Yeah, Gibberling on the coin is very tough for many decks to climb back from with at least any type of follow-up, and Luna was able to find the follow-up. But you can see how close it was. Because let's say Luna does not find that Feral Rage as far as like damage goes. Even though there's a 4 hero power clock, there was really no development, and DreadEye was actually just starting to ramp up draw with the Silverleaf Poison and the Cutting Class. So if he was able to survive like 1 or 2 more turns, he might have been able to turn the corner because there is no direct damage in Token Druid anymore. So a close one, but Token Druid manages to find a win, which is very important because the Token Druid has been Luna's weakest lineup throughout the tournament, weakest deck throughout the tournament, as well as what I just think the weakest deck against this field. The only other deck that I think might struggle a little bit, especially against the 2 remaining decks that DreadEye has, is the Mage, because they're 2 decks that really just ignore everything and hit you in the face. And that's what Mage doesn't like. They like to be able to control the board, remove the board, use brain freezes and devolving missiles and combustions to either 1, piece together burn, or 2, you know, they have played Deck of Lunacy at this point, do whatever they want at all times and win the game. So we'll see if DreadEye can corner the Mage of Luna to try and make it in the finals.
And I mean, I imagine that is what DreadEye has been doing for the last 2 days, is bringing this lineup and beating mages with it, whilst also playing his own mage and maging people with it. So, identifying that the toughest deck in the format to beat might be mage, and both bringing it and trying to beat it. That doesn't seem like the worst idea ever.
No, it doesn't seem like the worst idea because you're going to bring mage pretty much no matter what unless you're fled. And trying to beat it, I do think, when it plays Deck of Lunacy, it doesn't have that many weaknesses. When it doesn't play Deck of Lunacy, even if it plays Enchantress Flow, it does falter to aggression, especially the lists that aren't running like Ice Barrier or multiple Ice Barriers, because they're just not going to be able to find wins and find the damage before they die to aggressive decks like Face Hunter, like Weapon Rogue, some key select Demon Hunters as well. So let's get into this one. It's going to be Rogue versus Rogue, but two different archetypes. Luna bringing the Post-Rogue, like we saw in game number 1. DreadEye bringing back this weapon Poison Rogue that we just saw in game number 2. Now, a lot of the time, the Poison Rogue can just do the same thing they do against Mage, is go over the top and kill. But in Post-Rogue, there's a lot of disruption. Far Watch Post, there's Cold Neophytes, there's the Morshan Watch Posts. There's a lot of different ways to disrupt what the Weapon Rogue wants to do, and especially the ability to ramp up damage.
Yes, but on the other side of it, the Weapon Rogue gets a little bit more time than it would normally get, just because you're messing around with watch posts and things. So it's key for the Post Rogue to actually try and build some sort of board as well as do that disruption, because when the Weapon Rogue gets going, you're not stopping it. You haven't got any taunts, you haven't got any ways to blow up the weapons, so really need to take advantage of the pause in the action.
All right, Guardian Og Merchant can swindle and Wand Thief and have 1 mana remaining to be able to
play everything.
Play another 1 drop off the top. Brain Freezes aren't going to do much in this matchup. Neither are Prize Plunder. So, even though this is a very strong turn, Luna's able to cycle through the deck. It's not progressing the game plan because there really is only 4 damage represented on board.
That was an awful, awful, awful set of spells being offered there. Mana Biscuit and 2 things that didn't do anything. Yeah, basically 3 things that didn't do anything, pretty much.
Mana Biscuit at least has the added benefit of synergizing with Penflinger for damage. All right, attack, equip the Self-Sharpening Sword. Next turn, unload with poisons and cutting class, and start the race. The race has begun.
It looks like a good race for the Rogue. Well done, Neil. For the weapon. There's going to be a lot of cards drawn, a lot of poisons played next turn for DreadEye.
And this will be a free cutting class. Let's count the mana here. DreadEye can go Deadly Poison, Prep Paralytic Poison. And then you Penflinger. Yeah, you want a Penflinger at some point to take off the 2 damage.
Yep. Trying to work out whether he's got to project what his draws might be before deciding whether to play his Penflinger or not.
Yeah, so he's going to attack face first and then play the cutting class for free. So I think you Penflinger again, because you can still pick up pretty much anything you'd want to play, except for Wand Maker. Oh yeah, actually that's perfect, because he does pick up Wand Maker. Yoink!
You don't pick up Wand Maker, TJ.
It's so sick in this deck because it gives you flexibility. Most of the time in this matchup, in any matchup, in this deck specifically, the rogue hero power is terrible because you just override a big weapon that you have. So Yoink lets you craft your game plan to certain scenarios. If you need a couple more turns, get armor up or heal. If you just need card draw, life tap. If you want damage, steady shot. There's so many different ways that you can craft the hero power to your game plan, and it's free. You get 2 uses of it. So,
and you know what you don't want when you're a weapon rogue. Which hero power you want? You don't want this one. It does nothing. So yeah, yoink you out of there and get something else.
Yep. All right. So biggest thing for DreadEye here is to trade in this 2/2, so Luna can't get lifesteal value. Oh, well, Luna's gone. Yeah.
But that sort of proves what you were saying is the thing that stopping the thing that DreadEye was wanting to do.
Yeah. Now we're counting to 30.
Yeah. In lumps of about 8.
You have 2 more turns. You can accurately say you have 2 more turns.
So you need to do 12.5 a turn.
Yeah,
if you
I think I want a secret passage this turn because you're going to want to prize plunder the golem. Okay, never mind. Demon Claws?
+1 attack for no mana. Just 3 numbers.
Oh, he's going to secret passage. Okay. Yeah, I like this because you want to prize plunder the golem. Ooh, Silverleaf Poison. Oh, Cutting Class.
Oh, my.
Another Silverleaf Poison. That's so deadly poison. That's like the sickest.
There is so many points of numbers here, TJ. I can't even number them anymore. They're just absolutely off the charts.
Choose suicide.
Sinister Strike, Deadly Poison. Doesn't even get to Sinister Strike because the poison's more damage.
He keeps it though because it came off the Cutting Class. It didn't come off the secret passage.
Yup. So it's lethal next turn.
It is lethal next turn, yeah, because he has. This will be 8 damage. Next turn he has 9 damage. Plus just Penfinger, Sinister Strike. So, yeah, DreadEye's got a lethal setup. I like not getting baited by this board and not trying to go for prize plunder because he understands that he need that. I said at the beginning of the turn he has 2 more turns.
Yeah.
You want to save it to prize plunder a taunt Greater Golem, a taunt Kazakus Golem, because that's pretty much what you're looking for from Luna's perspective in this situation, is like taunt something to try and put something in the way because you know that you're on a clock here.
Evocation to Frostbolt.
Nope, can't freeze the face anymore. Defreeze is the only thing that can freeze a face. It's the only freeze an enemy that's left.
But might as well cast it because there's no other outs.
Yep, there's a lot of freeze a minion, but not very many freeze an enemy.
Which is fair enough.
Choose suicide.
Babbling Book.
Into 0 mana Frostbolts, which doesn't exist in 2 different ways.
Yep. And that'll do it. 2-1 DreadEye. Nicely done.
Now, so far, this week, DreadEye has won 3-1, 3-1, and 3-1. And it's currently 2-1. So, if Luna is going to stop this, I think she needs to reverse history very, very quickly. Or it's going to be 3-1 again.
Yep. I mean, I got to say, this comes back to that game number 1, right? Like, that was just impressive from DreadEye to win from a situation where his opening hand was like, oh my god, avenge, avenge. His 2 Swords of the Fallen were in the bottom 4 cards. Like, 2 of his last 4 cards were Sword of the Fallen. And was still able to win. Did have some pretty good draws in a mid game, like drew back-to-back Libra of Hopes to keep himself alive, and those are the card that Rogue struggles with the most. You usually want to kill right before that. But
you're allowed to draw something. Yes.
Yeah, staying calm and playing it correctly, right, is why I commend him for that victory.
And this seemed very precise. Like,
tough time.
Before the secret passage, he played the right number of cards for the secret passage to allow him to play the right number of cards again.
Yes.
Like he visualized what he might draw really nicely in terms of how much mana do I want to spend beforehand, which is. It's easy to say when you're sitting here, just talking about how someone's played a deck, but when you're actually there in the heat of the action to visualize I want to have 3 mana left after I passage, or whatever the magic number is. That's a lot of work.
It certainly is. And now the weak link still left in the lineup, but I would also say the weak link for DreadEye, because the Demon Hunter is unproven, right? Even though on paper, like, it's just supposed to ignore everything and go face, right? Draw its damage, draw its weapons, and go face.
Yep.
It does. It's not like Weapon Rogue where it just has a ton of damage. It also runs like Disruption and ways to beat decks that aren't just Mage. Instead of like Marrow Slicers and Soul Shard Lapidaries, it's running, you know, Kazakus and Mancrick.
Well,
And Fellfire DreadEye. It's got a lot more little stuff to help you fight for boards earlier on, instead of the Soul Fragments and big burst damage. Still has Illidar Inquisitors for the late game. It's actually got 2 of them for the late game for consistency of draw, I assume, and the Relentless Pursuit. So it still has that ignore everything, go face kind of playstyle, but it has to draw that side of the deck if it wants to be aggressive.
so I love doing sample sizes of one tournament when you're doing individual decks, because it's such a huge sample size that you can make anything work. But out of the decks that DreadEye had today that weren't banned, so not his Mage, his Demon Hunter went 2-0, his Paladin went 3-0, and his Rogue went 1-0. None of these decks had lost before today. So the Demon Hunter's been going all right in this tournament so far with a couple of wins. Only his Mage has been losing, weirdly enough. But yes, I do agree. Like, tried and tested over something like 4 games in the whole tournament by everybody. It's not a huge sample, but when it curves out, that is just going to kill Mage. When it doesn't curve out, it's going to be a case of how badly it whiffs. Like, are you just going to have a handful of Illidaris or something? He is playing the double Illidari version, obviously, so... But it looks like it curves out pretty often to me, honestly, with the way the numbers line up. The casting costs, it looks like a pretty good curvy deck.
I mean, most decks look like it on paper, right? It just doesn't always work out that way. Like, even Mage, wow, you got 1 drops, then 2 drops, then 3 drops, then 4 drops, then 5 drops.
Have you, though?
Yeah. You got
Brain
1s,
fees
2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s.
Sure, yeah, you can Font of Power. I'm trying to work out something here to stop you ridiculing me. Font of Power into Ruined Orb your minion and play my 3, 4, and 5 things that I got from Font, because you always get Jandis.
Yep.
All right.
With Demon Hunter, you can Fury into Chaos Strike into I-Beam. You don't have a 4 because you're only playing Kazakus, so it's unlikely that you've drawn a 4 by that point into Warglaves.
Spoken like a man who has never faced a Demon Hunter on ladder in the history of Hearthstone. That's not what Demon Hunters do. Of course they play Kazakus on 4.
All right, well, we have the battle of Watch Post versus Incanter's Flow. Incanter's Flow and Spell Mage is like the card of like, all right, I played a card. Both these cards are dead, right?
Yeah.
My Incanter's Flow negates your Watch Post, but you get to keep it on the board.
But I get to keep Incanter's Flow for the whole game. And your Watch Post only lasts as long as your Watch Post lasts for.
Yep.
So you would call it a wash, really, but the Flow needs to do its thing quicker than the Watch Post, if that makes sense. Yeah, even though it's a permanent effect, if it doesn't sort of start doing stuff in the first 3 or 4 turns, the Mage possibly would be getting behind at that point. What's this rubbish? This is what you were talking about. These are the hands that can just be rubbish.
Job done.
Yeah. Any hand.
Luna's hand's all
Try
right.
hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. it's got an answer to the Watch Post. Luna saw 1 Mulligan Keep from DreadEye, which means that I like the Incanter's Flow now, because then you can answer the Watch Post with Devolving Missiles.
That's a timely pickup here for DreadEye. It's not perfect, but at least it'll help him start to fix this curve to some degree. And
Might
Luna's
be
got the...
Aquin here.
Yeah, you're a fan of the Phoenix normally, but there's nothing to Phoenix, right? So I agree with you.
Yeah, and there's going to be a... like, there's nothing really to play on turn 4 at the moment for Luna, but at the same time,
Runs out on me.
you do want to, like, set up in case you draw refreshing... I don't know. It's hard to argue against Phoenix, right? Because Phoenix is just so good.
Yeah. But it is an investment into something that might never happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so DreadEye playing sort of 1 mana off curve the whole time here now. It will sort itself out in the next turn or two, but for now he's just being a bit awkward with this Demon Hunter. Definitely not what you want with Demon Hunter, as we talked about.
Luna really needs some card draw right about now.
Yeah, because DreadEye is going to draw some cards in the next few turns because there's a Skull of Gul'dan sitting there.
Yep.
And Luna just doesn't have that win condition. It's got the start of the burn, obviously, but she doesn't really want that. She wants something to stop this board getting out of control, which it's about to try and do.
Oof.
Oh.
Fireball the watch post?
That's why I'm arguing. It's like, really, can you do that?
Alright, she really wants to stop taking damage, so... I guess... Fireball
Do
that.
you know many people who would have done that play? Fireball a 2-2.
I mean, that's really the only... It was either... You're fireballing the 2-2 or you're fireballing the 2-4. It depends what you prioritize most. Being able
No,
to...
that's what I mean, though.
Or, yeah.
You get it down to that and you think, well, I would be silly to fireball the 2-2 because it's a 2-2 and not a 2-4. Like, but Luna's realizing how much extra time that buys her, so she's going for it that way.
They will never catch me.
DreadEye with the dead eyes.
Wow! You can cast your hero power for 0 mana. Twice!
This is his World Championship card.
He's dumping I-Beam. So he can cast Skull next turn. This is a very obvious play.
Yeah, I wonder why my opponent is doing this misclick. Does he now have to say oops after he does it as well to pretend pretend it was an accident?
Aim for the wheels.
That was a mistake.
Alright, cram session. Be the perfect time for a cram session.
Yep.
Refreshing spring water, that's good enough. Maybe she wants to Apexis Blast first, though? On the watch post?
And then have a really good refreshing spring next turn. But she might
Yeah,
get cram
but-
session off the spring this turn.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking as well. Because she knows, based on the play last turn, that DreadEye really wants to Skull. So I think developing actually has a lot of merit.
That'll do.
Oh, Inquisitor. 1 mana Kazakis. Oh, the Dread's on board. You can draw a card. The Deadeye's on board. Because they both cost 0. That's cool.
Yeah. More cards. Talking more cards. Everybody gets so many cards. You have a card and you can have a card.
Deck of Luna. See?
Yeah, I was going to
It's
go
Luna's
there, but
deck.
when you paused, I knew you were going to beat me to it. Like, there was no way I could interject in time to get there. I see why Sottle can never take you on in hot takes now. You're just blocking off every avenue.
You betcha.
It was really funny though, TJ. Thank you.
What to do?
Oh, going for a 1 secret ring toss. Oh, he's his ally.
Yeah. Yeah, when your opponent has a card that does 8 damage to you when they attack with their face, you really want to stop that from happening. Don't glide.
Yeah, not glide. That's for sure.
Halve your hand size and double your opponent's.
They will never catch me.
Oh my. Can Skull and Kazakas.
Alas, poor warlock.
And Chaos Strike and oh, so many things.
Thinking maybe just a Kazakus here, but I don't even know what you're fully looking for.
You don't want 5/5s because they get removed by... Unless you get 5/5 Divine Shield, that's what you're looking for. 5/5 Divine Shield with some sort of good effect.
Give other minions +2/+2, deal 3 damage. I don't know. His hand is just so expensive and 25 health. Libram of Hope.
Not enough. Not enough yet. It's good, but it's not. It's not the whole thing.
Okay. I mean, keep in mind,
Yes.
Luna played 1 Incanter's Flow before Deck of Lunacy. So that means all of the
Flame Strikes.
the Flame Strikes, the Masks of Cthulhu went down to 6 and then up to 9. The 4 mana stuff went down to 3 and up to 6.
DreadEye's about to get some bad news, by the way.
I don't know. I don't think it's really bad news.
I'm not sure. He might lose the ability to attack for a while.
No, he can't. He's immune. The Water Elemental.
Ah.
So this is a full board clear.
Ah. Okay. He's going to get some good news.
Yeah, this is a full board clear. Also got double Bladed Lady.
And he nods knowingly. So he's getting known news. Good for him.
Blades aren't just for show. My blades aren't just for show.
Bladed Ladies have a very, very important quality apart from being incredibly good value. Because they have 6 health.
He wants the face damage? Okay. Instead of the preserved health on the Bladed Lady. Libram of Hope! Oh my gosh.
Make it
right.
stop. Is that the first time he's shown like serious levels of emotion this week?
Well, yeah, because Luna had 18 cards left in deck. She only plays 3 7-drops. One of them's in hand. So there was 2 7-drops in deck. They were both right on the top of the deck. I mean, DreadEye literally just does the same thing again.
Yeah, Luna's now the one who's feeling hard done by. But yeah, it seems fair to me. They both had the same sort of issue. But now the damage is starting to rack up incredibly quickly. And next turn's just about bordering on lethal already with the extra 8 damage.
Yep. Has to Flame Strike ping to kill off this Bladed Lady.
I don't know what DreadEye just said, but I interpreted it as you can't have another one.
Pretty much. That's accurate.
Aim for the wheel.
Now there's Felfire Deadeye, Illidar Inquisitor, attack, push 9 damage, and Luna needs a miracle, but I don't think it's there.
Seems unlikely. This deck doesn't do single turn miracles, it sort of does multi-turn amazingness.
Fireball? Nope, not enough. 6 damage.
You win.
That's DreadEye moving on to the finals.
Brilliant. 3-1, 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. He is tearing through this field because there's been almost no 3-0s this week because people are allowed to play mages. Wow. What a debut from DreadEye. And looking good for it, honestly. Like, this isn't some fluke of a person who bought a random lineup for a bit of fun to see how they got on with it. This is a calculated, well-played lineup.
Yeah, very clean play today. I did have some qualms yesterday, as I mentioned. There were a couple of missed sequences, especially in the Mage game. Just straight up errors. But today, just very clean play, good understanding of the decks and where his win conditions are in each matchup. So very nicely done by DreadEye. And Luna, I feel like Luna had some decent draws, decent panouts, but just the lineup maybe wasn't there. I mean, DreadEye had multiple decks that were there to target Mage, so the Mage was going to struggle to win. Post-Rogue just felt like it kept falling short for a lot of players, and it was taking wins a lot in like mirror matchups and not beating much else. And then Token Druid has been, I think, one of the worst decks, fourth decks out of any of the fourth decks.
Yes.
Not just for Luna, but across the entire tournament this weekend. So,
and the opposite's true of DreadEye, right? He seems to have brought the exact right stuff